Welcome to episode 46 of the Rebel Army podcast, the official podcast of Cork City Football Club, and it's time for a catch-up. Yeah, back with the podcast, joined as always by Aaron. How are you?
Very good, Stephen. How are you?
Yeah, I suppose we better kick off by saying why we were missing for the last 2 weeks. I suppose if you're on the club social, I suppose my mother passed away 2 weeks ago. So it's been kind of a roller coaster of a kind of a time. But I think the one thing that I have noticed, and I've always seen this, and I think I've said to you before, when the club puts up about fans passing or someone belong to the players or whatever, you kind of think it's just one of those things. But it's when you're in the situation, you really appreciate the club kind of doing it. I'll be honest with you. You don't expect it. Then you see it, you get notifications on your phone or something. And I thought it was nice in a time when you're kind of, you don't know, your mixed emotions and stuff like that, and your head is all over the place. And you see that hundreds of people literally taking time out to just kind of press a little heart or whatever. It's something small, but actually it means a lot to the person on the other side. And I'm sure I've now thought about it the other way, like for all the other people, that it happens to. I'm sure it's some sort of I suppose, condolence and it's like the club is just big family or something.
Yeah, we speak about that a lot on this, the community aspect and the family aspect. But
so obviously it happened 2 weeks ago, and because my mum passed suddenly in Spain, it took a while before, I suppose, the funeral and all that. But I suppose to a bit of escapism, I went to the Waterford game, and what was really interesting was people just approached me, and I thought that was lovely too, So, if I was a bit away at the fairies, whatever, when people were talking to me, and if I missed someone or whatever, and they reach out, I do appreciate it. So, and I saw people commenting on RIP and stuff like that, and that's lovely as well. Again, these are things that you don't kind of consider. You just think, it's only someone writing something down, or it's only someone pressing a button or whatever. But actually, it does. It
has an impact.
It has an impact.
Yeah. So
it kind of makes me think totally different. So thanks to everyone for reaching out, and So look, I said we there's been a lot since the last time we were here. So I mentioned the Waterford game. It probably was a strange one for me because I was sitting there, and it was probably one of the rare times when we did score that I kind of sat there and clapped. I didn't jump around the place because it's the way I was feeling at the time.
Yeah, of course.
But I suppose we've had, I think, 5 matches since the last time we were on. The last time we had the 2 lads here.
It's been a hectic couple of weeks of Mondays and Fridays and Saturdays.
And it's continuing. So we don't have to dwell too much on a couple of weeks ago. I know we've had a couple of disappointing results in terms of, I suppose, that first weekend in particular was probably the most disappointing. And, losing to, I suppose, we lost to Pats. And then we lost to Rovers as well in Dublin. So, but things started kind of not dramatically improve. But the bank holiday Monday of Easter definitely was something to, it was better.
I think, the Rovers one you've spoken about there was the sort of the hardest one to take, just because of the manner of it. Bowes was a late one that they won, and as Tim said in his press conference after the game, didn't really have a chance from open play in that game.
Yeah.
We should have had a penalty late on. We got a free kick. Rio was kicked, and there's photographic evidence after the fact that he was about 1.5 feet inside the box. So looking back at that, you can feel annoyed there to come away without a point at least. But after that, then we were going into the Waterford one, which I suppose for 88 minutes,
it looked like
nobody was
disaster.
happy.
Yeah. And at that point, I think we were bottom of the league as well. Would I be right in saying that? We were definitely close to bottom. I'm not sure. I can't remember now. Definitely.
Yeah, there's been so many games. We definitely fallen bottom at one point.
We definitely fell bottom maybe after the Bowes game.
I think the win over Waterford put us up, and then
I think the
Sligo lost to Derry, and
so there was a couple of things like that happened. But
it was just this is the thing. There's so many games in a short space of time that not that the table doesn't matter, but there's no point getting comfortable with how a table looks because it's going to change so much.
Like, I suppose the league in general is very close compared to usual anyway. I mean, like, as I suppose we haven't had a great start, mainly down to the fact that we've had so many injuries. I mean, let's
So
call it
many injuries,
Like, it's our forward line has been depleted for most of the season now at this point.
We went from having the one of the best attacking trios
To
in the
literally
league
losing them all.
to literally having the three of them out injured, as you said. Yeah, so it's obviously some have come back and we've added to it, but
I suppose, look, if we were to look at it from a different angle, like, what are we, 12 games in? We're only 9 points off the top of the table.
It's mad when you look at it
You
that
would
way.
think at this point there would be 20 points.
Yeah, what is it? I think we're 6 behind 7th place, sorry, and then they're 3 points off top.
Yeah. There's something, so it's
mad, like.
It's mad. There's only 3 points between 7 teams at the top. You know?
I saw a couple of fans on Twitter joking about it, saying Bohs are somehow in a relegation battle and a title charge at the same time. We were looking in, like, we were at the outside looking in last year, and we were talking about how ridiculously tight the league was and how close everyone was and anyone could beat anyone. You look at this year being a part of it, and it's like the intensity of it is like increased tenfold because you don't, like, when you're in the mix, you can't enjoy it looking at the outside because everything is so close and it is so kind of precarious. You could be like, look at Bohs. As you said, they're 3 points off top now, but if they lost their next game or the game after, they could be right back down to 8th or 9th. Like, it's...
Yeah, like, because it's very different from what we're used to. So if we go back to, let's say, 7 or 8 years ago, it was a 2-horse race very early on.
Yeah.
Like ourselves in Dundalk, if you look at 3 or 4 seasons in a row, there was a huge gap.
Yeah, and if you look at the year we actually won it, now I know we slowed down towards the end, but 12 in a row we won, like... Yeah. That's unheard of then, but it's definitely hasn't been heard of.
We must have been on 36 points, let's say, at that point, at the same point of the season, which would be 16 points ahead of any team now.
Yeah, it's phenomenal at the time.
So, like, it's so obviously there's not much of a difference between all the teams. The one thing you would have to say is the league is very competitive now.
Yeah, back then I know you were talking about 2-horse race. There were clearly 2 teams that people wanted to play for, had the big crowds, had that strength and depth, and were pulling away from the rest. Whereas now, it's not that teams are worse or not as good then, but it's everyone.
After evening out,
the standards across the league have increased, and everyone is kind of, there's a baseline now to where teams are at and what teams can expect, I suppose, in a season.
Recruitment has changed as well.
Massively,
I think. Just between getting a good academy players, and I think the whole Brexit thing has had an impact on that. We're seeing a lot more younger players playing in the league now.
They're staying here,
We're seeing that. But also then you're seeing a lot more European players starting to arrive, not just with us, but other teams as well. You're seeing
league wide,
whereas that was very rare before. They'd literally come over from England, Scotland, or Wales probably in the past. Like, you'd very rarely get.
And if you had players from other European countries, they had probably been in the lower leagues at England and
they just ended up
coming across the pond,
being journeymen, kind of going across,
15, 16 clubs on the record at that point. Whereas now it's not like that.
Yeah.
Look at ourselves the last couple of years. Some other clubs like Shamrock Rovers had Mark Poom's son, Marcus Poom.
Yeah.
Interesting one, an interesting way of looking at it. We were joking beforehand. We had our first ever Dutch player, Malik, only a couple of years ago. We've got 3 now. So it's
amazing to have three players from Holland in the squad. Like, you wouldn't associate countries like that with Cork City in the past. Like,
with our away jersey this year, I suppose.
You must have been predicting things.
I knew well in advance the lads were signing. Yeah, the 3 lads.
Yeah,
but, I know what you mean. Like, it's changed so much.
So the latest,
but it's good.
Yeah, the latest guy was a new forward. I kind of like. Okay, so obviously I was kind of tuned out of a lot of the stuff I kind of want, and the next thing I'm sitting in the cross and saying, "Who's this guy?"
Who the hell is that? Yeah.
So
genuinely, yeah, like that's
I'm sure
how it happens.
Maybe I wasn't the only person in the cross on Easter Monday thinking that. Like, who's the new fella? And then you're getting your phone out and trying to do a bit of, and then I spotted that you had put it up on.
Yeah, funny enough, like, obviously the team arrived at Turner's Cross before
Yeah.
a lot of other people, and they kind of do their pitch walk, and I had to run over to. There was Seb from Sports File and Kevin Barry-Dorney was pitch side as well, and I was like, lads, just a heads up here now. There's a fella coming out here. He's new signing.
Yeah.
We're announcing him in the team at 6:30. Can you not put any pictures anywhere until then, please? And to be fair to the two lads, they didn't. But Kev's reaction was kind of like, shut up. Like, obviously you're joking. And I was like, no, like genuinely he's starting. So we don't want it to be spoiled. Yeah. And he was like, so you've signed a new striker and he's starting and nobody knows. And I was like, yeah, like, this is about 5 minutes before.
So
but I was like,
and he went into the lineup.
Straight into the lineup, yeah.
And you released the lineup and people were like, who's Daniels?
Literally, who the hell is that? Because he was in the picture in the graphic as well. So everyone was like, who?
Yeah.
But the two, Seb and Kev, both thought I was on a wind up. And I was like, lads, it's 5 minutes. Just please don't put the lineup, don't put a picture of him anywhere for 5 minutes. But yeah, the reaction was as expected, I suppose, when a team inexplicably signs a striker and doesn't announce him until the lineup. So
he'd been playing in Iceland, was it?
He'd been playing in Iceland for a while. He was in the Canadian Premier League as well, which kicked off only a couple of years ago. So, I'll be honest, I didn't know much about him before he came in. And, started the Waterford game and went down injured after 5 minutes.
Which I thought, oh, here we go again.
Turner's cross fell silent.
The curse of the forward player at the moment, like if you're the forward, you're going down. Like,
as soon as I saw him hit the deck, I just thought, like, really, like, what did we do to deserve this? But thankfully, he was okay. I think we got an hour out of him or so.
So, and I know, like, you know, with the name Daniels, people might have been thinking Paul Daniels because we might need some magic up front or something like that. But we did get magic at the end of that game, like, because I thought, like, here we go. Like, we don't, you know, we didn't really have an out forward on the pitch as such, like, at that stage at the end of the game. But Cahill produced a bit of magic anyway, like, in fairness to him, you know.
Cahill was good throughout the game, but with that last 5 minute spell, he was phenomenal.
He was, and I think
instrumental in the two. He won the penalty.
Yeah, he just brought it. Like, he kind of nearly took the bull by the horns and kind of just went for it at the end. And it was like,
there's a great picture of him. Did you see the picture after he won the penalty?
Yeah.
That's one for a museum. Like, that is absolutely iconic.
Yeah. Look, the scenes. Like, I suppose the Waterford fans, because there was a good few of them up.
Yeah, there was.
In fairness, a lot of them had made the journey. Like, and
even better.
You know, they looked like they had won the World Cup or something, like, when they were 1-0 up. And I think for it to happen the way it did, it was not a payback for the playoff game like the year before last or whatever, but, like, it was kind of a little nice because, again, they beat us against the run of play at the start of the season, so we were 1-0 up against them.
Freddie sent off when he shouldn't have been.
Freddie got sent off there. That wasn't like, okay, we can go around, but it wasn't really, like, it wasn't a sending off offence. You know, and then Shawnee got injured and there was a load of different things happening. I think Greg went off half time as well. Yeah. So we went from Alex Nolan getting this great goal against him down there to all of a sudden
it was losing
a bad night.
That match. Yeah.
You know, and then Tim got sent off, I think, at the end as well.
Afterwards, yeah.
And, you know, there was a lot of discussion around what was said. And what, you know, so it was kind of nice that we flipped that.
Yeah. And you know what? From their point of view, I suppose, we should mention, actually, I suppose the first managerial casualty of the season was Keith Long leaving Waterford.
Yeah. And the new manager bounced off and happened.
Yeah, this magical new manager bounce that people always get, and they would have been confident with 88 minutes gone. We've come up here and beat Cork City. Didn't play out that way.
Yeah.
No, they had good results since, obviously.
They had a good result at the weekend, I
don't care about them beating Derry because
no,
we managed to get the points from them, having been one down after 88. So
they did go ahead of us in the league as a result, like, but
but look, again, we have to play them twice again this season. Do you know what I mean? But it was brilliant, and Kit's goal to win it was phenomenal. He actually described it as the best moment of his career so far in his interview afterwards. Fair enough, I suppose.
But to do it in front of the shed, the full house as well.
Into the shed, like, it could have been done down the St. Anne's end, whatever. It would have been great. We would have won it later on, got 3 points, but there's something special about last minute goal into the shed. Like, phenomenal.
Yeah, no.
We put out the video today from Rory Keating's goal against Shamrock Rovers in 2023. Remember they had 3 players sent off into a full shed again.
That was crazy. I think it was the only time in my life. I don't even think in schoolboys games I've seen 3 people sent off.
And do you know what? I don't know if this is controversial here, but if you actually watch it back, the 3 of them were red cards.
Yeah, they were,
it's their own fault. But anyway, Keating's goal into the shed that day.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Oh my God, the lid lifted off, turned across. It was incredible. But we thought that was loud.
Yeah.
Last Monday against Waterford was 10 times louder.
I'd say, we've talked that it's been a kind of a mixed season, probably more downs than ups, but that has definitely been the high so far.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Like, it has to be there's been some good performances and some great games and stuff like that, but definitely that's to think you're down and out and then to come back and get the 2 goals
when it happens so quickly as well. Because funnily enough, Rory O'Hagan got a funny picture of me in the gantry. I was just looking depressed out of my game, staring into space, can't believe we're losing here.
Yeah.
And even when we equalised, I was I don't even think I celebrated much because I was like, we should be we shouldn't lose anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
But then when the winner went in, my God.
No, it's brilliant. And a brilliant boost for the fans, I suppose it was looking good then against Sligo away, 1-0 up. I know it was the second half, but
pretty much the same thing happened against us that day. It was a very late equaliser.
Yeah, so there's been a couple of things like that. I think back to the Galway game at home earlier in the season, and at the end of the first half we were 1-0 up against them and we conceded this goal. Some things, they're just psychological, they'll have an impact on you.
I'd like to look at a table where if we kept the points we had in leading positions to see where we'd be at. Yeah. Because it's happened a couple of times this year, but
we've been ahead and then it's gone the opposite direction.
And look, I know that's a thing. Look, that happens in football. People are winning a game and end up drawing or losing, but just interesting because it feels like it's happened. It feels like we've been winning a lot this year.
Yeah. I suppose since the last time we spoke as well, we knew that the previous game before Pats was Derry, and we knew that Rory had got a bad injury, but we didn't know, I suppose, the full.
Yeah, we didn't know at the time how serious it was, but since then, if you have missed it somehow, he's ruptured his Achilles tendon, so his season's finished. He's probably looking at 6 to 9 months recovery.
Yeah.
He's had his surgery. He's chatting to him last week. I think he was getting his stitches out.
Oh, very good.
And moving to a smaller boot, which gave him a bit more freedom to move around. But disappointing for him, disappointing for us as well, obviously, as a club.
Yeah,
but I saw the Shed. Shed had a lovely banner with you, Keats, before.
Yeah.
Just don't remember what game that was. Pat's game, yeah. There's been so many games.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. It was lovely.
One thing like that, again, going back to the whole community and family sense of it, is everyone rose in behind everyone, and especially with Keats. Everyone knows how much he's loved by everyone.
There's a special
City fan, people at the club. But
yeah.
He said himself, he put up a little bit of a statement himself, and he was going to say, he said he's going to do everything in his power to have that 6 to 9 months be closer to 6 than 9.
I know.
In terms of his recovery. So we look forward to welcoming him back when he does come back.
And again, when you have so many matches early in the season like that, even if he did, we don't, the season isn't. I think we've had this conversation before. The season kind of finishes nearly too early. Many years in October. If it was stretched out to November or something,
Yeah, it does. It finishes too early, and we were talking about this off air as well before we started. It's so top heavy as well. The amount of games we've played already compared to the amount of in the short space of time since the start of the season compared to what's left for the rest of the season. There's so many games played, and not that there's a good time to lose players to injury, but if you look at the injuries we've had in the last 5-6 weeks. The amount of games we've had in that period, Monday, Friday, another Monday and Friday to come next week.
Yeah.
There's so much football, so many points
I know
at
it's
stake.
based on bank holidays, but in the summer, you don't necessarily need a bank holiday all day, to play a match in the midweek or something.
Yeah, there's games now. I know obviously you want to maximise your crowds and stuff, but look, you could have Cork City Water, close teams that are somewhat close together, us and Waterford, Galway and Sligo, play them on a Monday or something.
Yeah.
Where it's accessible for people to get to, but and when the pitches are probably going to be better as well.
And as well as that, with the European games and all that the other clubs will be playing, there's going to be matches postponed or call off that they could slot other games in. They don't have to stick. They'll know about 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah, the schedule should be somewhat flexible.
They should have nearly spare matches in some ways that we put them on later in the year and we can move them around if we need to. So I don't know, or even with the cup and all that kind of stuff as well. But all of that, you know. So yeah, like what are we just 2.5 months in, and there's already 12 games gone. Like
Yeah, and look, there still it's not like there's a handful of games left. There's a lot of games left to be played, but it's just the spread.
Yeah,
throughout the.
There's still 24 league matches.
By the time you get to the mid-season break, which is in June, like you've played over half your games. That's supposed to be halfway through your season. Like it's
so what are we? Third of the way in already. Yeah, you know. So yeah, third. Like yeah, hopefully then the injuries improve anyway. I think if we can get players back on the pitch, you know, hopefully Shawnee and Malik and stuff can come back in the next couple of weeks. We got Greg back, and since the last time we were on, you know, Cahill is obviously starting games now again. You know, so
yeah, from listening to Tim and his pressers the last couple of weeks, Shawnee and Malik are kind of the two closest to coming back, and they'll be back around the same time as well. So even having the two of them back would be a huge boost.
Yeah, like,
huge boost.
Yeah, no, because they start like God, we started the season well with the likes of them scoring and stuff like that as well.
Yeah,
so, you know,
Malik's goal against Galway that opening day. Yeah.
You know, so
he could have scored after 7 seconds. I know we were talking about that.
One of the fastest goals ever seen in Torrance Cross, but yeah. So, yeah, it's been a few ups and downs, I suppose. It could have been worse, I suppose, against Sligo. At least we got a draw, but I suppose
we got something out of the game.
I suppose, you know, we did go down to 10 men as well, and you know, but in fairness to Kit, he's becoming a bit of a goal scorer for us.
I know. I was joking with him actually after the Waterford game. He brought him in to do the post-match interviews, and I was saying to him, same again now Saturday, like, you know, no problem. And he was laughing. He did, to be fair to him.
But he's got a few this season.
Yeah, I think that's his third. Derry away.
Yeah.
Waterford and Sligo, I think. Yeah, might be another one there that I'm missing, but no, he's done very well. And overall, he's been a huge addition. Like he's been phenomenal. So that's good. That's great. Look, we've often had lone players come in who haven't worked out, but he definitely has. So that's good.
Is he on loan just till the summer, until the end of the season?
Kids until the summer, yeah. Freddie's until the end of the season. I think Freddie was the only loan until the end of the season. But kids here till the summer, yeah.
Yeah, so that's I suppose. Look, sometimes they might leave him with us as well. Like we never know.
Yeah, look,
it depends.
Yeah, that's not.
It depends on our home club.
That's not us saying, "Oh, we're keeping him." But look, some clubs might be happy with the development the player has had.
That's happened before, where you stay on.
It's happened a couple of times.
I think Matty Healy, wasn't it? Didn't Matty Healy stay on that time?
Matt Healy was on loan from Ipswich. Yeah. Barry Coffey originally came in on loan from Celtic, and same thing.
Yeah. So sometimes it does happen like that. Like yeah.
Here's hoping, I suppose, because he's like we'd 100% want to keep him, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
so.
No, he's been a great success, and look, like we've had players like that have been on loan with us in the past. Actually, speaking of one of them, I suppose in the past was Owen O'Connell, and congratulations to him and Wrexham. Obviously, it's been a few years, since he's been maybe 9 or 10 years. I don't know. It's been a good while since Owen played at the back for us, but like what a story to join them, and their first season getting promoted from non-league in England, and then to go from League 2 to League 1 and now into the Championship. It's been a great story for him.
It's phenomenal. Yeah, I know people are giving out about it online in English football that it's not really a fairy tale story, but to be honest, I think two rich celebrities coming down to a small town in the non-league and bringing it up to Championship, it's the definition of fairy tale story. Like,
it's not like two oil barons or something.
Exactly,
taking over the club. Like, they're two Hollywood actors. Like,
I don't think they will end up going to the Premier League in the first attempt. If they do, fair play. Like, you've won.
They might be in for
football.
That Championship. I mean, we've had a couple of players here that have spoken about that it is one of the toughest leagues around, because you can get stuck in it for a long time.
You see that. Look at Preston. For years, we're always around.
Preston might get relegated this year.
There's a chance,
But if you look at it, like, you could be there for a long time. Like, there's 24 teams in that division. Like, it's tough.
Yeah.
And the teams that come down from the Premier League usually have the money to go back up.
And they go straight back up. Yeah.
So,
and if you look at, like, it's funny how small football is. Like, there's the connection with Owen O'Connell at Wrexham. Malik used to play for Wrexham when he was in with us. He was telling us. Ryan Reynolds follows him on Instagram and everything. Even broader Irish connections. James McLean's obviously there as well. Like,
yeah. There's a few people in the background too. Their physio and stuff, I think, is Irish as well.
Yeah. There was another guy as well, an Irish guy. I think he's from Limerick. Anthony, I can't remember his name.
Oh yes, yeah.
He only left him recently.
That's right. Yeah.
Anthony Ford, is that
Ford? I think. Yeah.
So it's a small little world, isn't it?
It's a small world. Like, yeah, they've had a good few Irish players, in fairness to them. So yeah, look, but
they're a
it's
championship club now, and
like,
look at there's a lot of Irish players in the championship.
Yeah.
Someone else could end up there next year.
Well, you're looking there now. Like, on the flip side of that, Chidozi, who played for us, like, they've gone down without him even kicking the ball in once. You know, talking about players being injured.
Yeah.
You know, he went down with Luton last year. Like, who's to say some other club don't come in for him? Like, I don't know. And then you have players like Mark O'Mahony that was on loan from Brighton down to Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't know what happens with Mark either. Like, there's a lot of players kind of...
And I suppose for Irish players especially, who are looking at potentially leaving the clubs they're at, Wrexham becomes a very attractive club to want to go to. So.
Oh, it does. Like, I mean, you know, like, look, you look there, like, I suppose a few other Cork lads have done well over the weekend. I mean, Quiveen won the Premier League, I suppose. He actually got a medal this time, in fairness to him. I think you need five appearances to get an actual medal. So he's got
one, another Cork man, yeah.
And then Adam Eada scored 2 goals for Celtic to win the Scottish League as well at the weekend. So
yeah, and they'll obviously be over in a couple of weeks.
Down,
yeah.
So like, they're looking for a treble. I think. I think is it?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I'm not that clued in myself, but I think that's what the talk is anyway.
With all this League of Ireland stuff and all these Monday Fridays, there's no time to watch anything.
Yeah. So, but look, it's great to see Cork football in general do so well. You know, like it's brilliant, and so many of the lads progressing with different clubs all over the place, and it'll be great to actually see the Adam Eada play against Cork City in the summer. I know there's still tickets on sale for it.
Yeah, CorkSuperCup.com. If you don't have your tickets, that's on the Tuesday the 8th of July.
I know they're keep an eye on their socials as well. They're doing a lot of kind of competitions around kind of mascot
packages
that kind of stuff, which was kind of cool as well.
Yeah,
you know?
there's a lot of different ways to be involved in it. Yeah.
So it's like,
but that's going to creep up on us as well. That's only
probably 2 months,
just over 2 months away.
Yeah. And we heard that the since the last time we were on the women's game, the women's national team are coming back to Páirc Uí Chaoimh.
They are just before it, isn't it? Just towards the end of June, I think.
Maybe June 2nd, 3rd or something. Like, definitely after the June weekend. I think it's the Tuesday night. So I think.
Is it? Okay.
So I think you have the bank holiday weekend. City are probably playing on the Monday because we tend to be playing bank holiday Mondays. If the league went to the end of the year, or they'd be playing on the jazz weekend, they would have a jazz band out or something. Like, it's kind of
halftime show at Turner's Cross.
So they're playing. But I don't know whether any of our team will be on it. It's been a kind of a tough couple of weeks for the women's team. It started good. They beat Waterford. But since then it's kind of been a bit tough.
Yeah, so that was the one we previewed here, I suppose, at the time, was the first meeting with Waterford, and
because we played Pats on the Friday with the men, and then on the Saturday
the women's team played Waterford.
That was Waterford's first time.
And that was the first meeting with Waterford, which was a Waterford team that had a lot of former City players in there as well.
So it was like a derby.
And 4-2 win in that, which was a good result.
Yeah, very good.
And then Shells away was the next one, tricky one.
Yeah.
Typically a very difficult place to go, and this time was no different. 7-0 defeat, which
that's hard.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
It doesn't matter who you are, like, that's to lose 7-0. It's tough, like.
It
has an impact. Yeah.
And then that was followed up this week. Then, so the league action kind of went on pause because the All Ireland Cup came back, and Peamount at Turner's Cross, and that was a 3-0 defeat. So but again, a tricky one. Peamount are a very difficult team to play against. It's the second time we played them this year. 2-0 in the first game, 3-0 in the second game. A lot of changes in the City team as well. There was a lot of your regulars would have been on the bench. So clubs kind of used the All Ireland Cup as a chance to.
That kind of makes sense too, though.
Rotate the teams a bit, and 3-0 defeat in that one.
You don't get that many opportunities to kind of change teams around. I mean, look, it happened with City. They did it the men's team did it with the Munster Senior Cup. You know, You know, and I'm like, you know, these things. You have to give people game time. Because
I know. Look, it's part of it as well.
It's part of it, like.
But there's a chance now, I suppose. Off the back of that, we're back at home this Saturday, and men's team have Shamrock Rovers on Friday, and the women's team have Bohemians on Saturday. So
the dubs,
double header at Turner's Cross.
Well, I don't think any of the Rovers fans will be down supporting Bows on the Saturday or vice versa. But
Yeah, they'll be getting out of there before the Bows fans come down. But
yeah. But it's a while since we had Shamrock Rovers down. But they're not always a noisy crowd.
they'll bring a big crowd. Yeah, they will. The Dublin clubs tend to do that, barring UCD. But look, I know we referenced the game in Tala a couple of weeks ago earlier on in the pod, but that was obviously a disappointing one.
Was.
And we've had probably more injuries again since then, so
it's going to be
tough task, but
you never know.
Turner's Cross, we go on about how it's a fortress and we
Pats
don't want to lose.
To beat the men's team at home this season. So and
the first team in a while. I know it was first division, but still.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing as well? Like I was sitting there, at that Pats game in particular, I was thinking when I was sitting at the Pats game, I was like, last season, like it was nearly Groundhog Day, like in terms of, like wasn't it? It felt like a bit like, when we come on to the podcast, like we didn't have to talk about negativity at all because we weren't losing any matches.
Yeah, we didn't have to deal with like anything really.
No.
Yeah, it was smooth sailing.
Yeah.
No injuries like this.
Yes, we didn't really.
The odd one.
The odd one or two, but nothing major.
We're being tested this year altogether, on the pitch and off the pitch.
Yeah, it's like fucking casualty or something instead this season or something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to
ER
bite our tongue about certain things happening on the pitch, decisions-wise and stuff like that, but sure, look.
But I suppose that it's the...
Part of it.
It's part of it, yeah.
It's part of it. And I think they shouldn't be discouraged as well. I know there's a couple of things this week about commentators celebrating goals and people criticising decisions.
Yeah.
It's part of, we're all Cork City fans. We're all going to have opinions. We're all going to want to talk about it.
Yeah. But okay, I know they're talking about LOI TV and stuff like that there, but let's be honest, most of the commentators from the home teams are the supporters of the home teams. It's not,
there's
it's
a bias.
Not on Virgin Media, like.
There are some clubs where obviously, look, some people try to be neutral and that's fine, but 99% of them, there's a bias there. Of course there is.
There is.
That's welcome in a way.
If expected to be
I know
honest.
the Sligo commentators on Friday didn't celebrate like how Rory and Phil celebrated when Kit scored last week. But if they did, fair play to them. Like, do you know what I mean? It's part of it. It's no different to being at a match.
Yeah.
I was talking about it on Twitter. I think it's one of the charms and personality traits that the League of Ireland and LYTV has.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be discouraged. I know, look, people can go over the top sometimes. That's fair enough. But
listen,
it shouldn't be discouraged.
If you're watching Sky Sports at the weekend, they're like
it's robotic and monotonous.
But the pundits will celebrate. Okay, the commentator, Peter Drury won't or someone like that. But the bloody whoever's next to them, if it's their team, they make all weird old noises.
Yeah, of course.
So
that shouldn't be discouraged either.
Yeah.
It's part of it. It happens in the stadiums. It happens outside the stadiums, and I think it adds to the overall experience of buying into the league and having an emotional connection to a team or against another team, which is almost just as important. The rivalries are just as important as the support for your own club. But I just thought it was an interesting discussion this week that I know that people have a different opinion, and that's fine as well. Like, that's people aren't going to agree with me. I'm not going to agree with them on that kind of thing. But I think it's a unique thing the League of Ireland has. Think back to a couple of years ago when Sligo had Joey and Doe on commentary, like screaming down the mic. Remember his welcome to heaven speech and all this, brilliant. Like, it's a quirk of the league. It's we're not competing. We shouldn't be trying to be like the Premier League or like one of them. Those leagues are gone too huge, too commercialized, too soulless. We have this phenomenal product here.
Yeah.
With its own personality, its own characters, on the pitch, off the pitch, fans. Everyone knows Tom.
Yeah.
Who's at traveling around the country everywhere. Like, that's the sort of thing that should be spoken about and highlighted. And I just think the League of Ireland we're our own thing. We shouldn't try to model ourselves on anyone else. I know this is kind of a bit off topic now,
but if you look at, like we were talking about Wrexham a while ago, the reason why that's so popular is because of the stories off the pitch. It's nothing to do with what's on the pitch. No offense to any of the lads playing, but it's the characters. The lad that owns the pub, the fella doing the fucking, the two women in the cafe. You know,
Exactly, and
that's what and that's life, like.
And I know that's not how it was before. Like, not every club has had stuff like that. Not every league has had stuff like that. But there's stories everywhere.
Yeah, but if Disney came into the League of Ireland and made a documentary, they could probably dial it up as well, like.
100%. 100%. Sure, I've been saying that for years. We should have an inside club documentary, like.
And the great thing about the League of Ireland is that you're not that far away from Europe. Like, you know.
You're one league win away from Champions League qualification.
Bit of a way to go to get to Europe. Yet they have to get to the Premier League next, like.
Yeah. Whereas you win the League of Ireland, you're in Champions League qualifiers.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah.
So, you know, like there's a story, like the stories are brilliant, you know, in terms of the league. And, you know, like there's so many good stories around. Like we've been saying that for ages, like, you know, like.
They just need to be told.
They just need to be told. And if commentators want to get a bit biased, leave them off. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, look, in fairness, Trevor restrained himself when he was doing the Virgin.
Trevor restrained himself audibly, but if you were in the gantry with Trevor, you would have seen Trevor was much happier than he was. Than he sounded on commentary. But again, Trevor's a Cork City fan. Do you know what I mean? That's how it is.
Yeah, yeah. You know, so no, like it's like he's delighted to be commentating. But when you're on national TV, I can understand you kind of have to pull yourself back. But if you're just on the on LOI TV. Not, like,
people who are watching Cork City matches on LOI TV are majority of them are Cork City fans.
Yeah.
And look, maybe controversial, but if the commentary winds up a few away fans, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, brilliant.
It's
part of it.
We
only want to be liked by Cork City fans anyway. Like, that's all that matters to us.
The other fans don't have that. The other clubs wouldn't have that many fans watching our stream anyway, so they wouldn't be overly worried about it.
Yeah, exactly. Unless they're playing against us, and
probably
even at that point.
But even at
that point, if it's funnier.
Yeah.
Like, think now of Waterford fans sitting at home watching that last week, and you've Philip Long screaming Nelson, like, brilliant. I hope it ruined your day. Do you know what I mean?
You probably threw the telly out the window.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Like, see you down in Curry's to get a new TV, no bother.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, not like it's part and parcel. So we have 2 games this weekend with the men's team, so we don't just have Shamrock Rovers. We're playing on the bank holiday Monday again.
Yeah, we're away to Drogheda on Monday.
I suppose this must be a headache for Tim at this stage, because with the amount of injuries, like we were talking about squad rotation there we go. Sometimes when you have two matches together, you might rest the guy because it might be just, you know, too close in terms of.
Whereas he doesn't have that luxury now because it's
full steam ahead.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like, and I suppose we obviously want a good result on Friday against Shamrock Rovers, but at the same time, not getting any injuries in that game is going to be a good result in itself. And I'd say at the rate we've been going.
He'd love to try on some of the younger lads, like, you know, like Aaron and David and stuff like that, but like, you don't want to put them into the deep end when we're losing in the match either. Like, you know, like,
yeah, it's an impossible one to balance or to get right.
Yeah,
I know, like, you know, people, the manager is kind of the head of the club, whatever, but the decisions the manager has to make and the things the managers have to get right are the most difficult job in football. Like, so, I don't envy being a manager having to deal with a situation like that.
Yeah,
and 2 games, and the game on Monday as well. It's
Drogheda, like
5 o'clock kickoff in Drogheda on a Monday that's a tricky one to manage. Drogheda is a deceptively long haul.
God, you're nearly in Belfast by the time you get to Drogheda. Like, it's a good bit away. Like,
yeah, it's over the road from Dundalk. Like, it's 4 and a bit hours.
Yeah,
it's a hike,
especially with traffic on a May weekend and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's probably festivals.
And getting there for 5 o'clock, you're gonna have to leave earlier. And
no, the only thing is that there's good weather due at the weekend. So
good.
So, no, I think maybe a bit of rain on Friday, but I think it's only a small bit. But
bit of rain on Friday. We'll call the game off 40 minutes before kickoff. So.
With buckets, throw them all over.
We should give them a taste of their own medicine.
Yeah, if Irish water want to flood Turner's Cross on Friday.
That's a joke. Before anyone gets annoyed, that's a joke.
So two teams that are kind of, I suppose, what would you say, near the top end of the table at the moment.
Drogheda are
top, and I think Shamrock Rovers are 4th. I think
Drogheda have been top for a while.
They have, like, they're everyone's surprise package because they struggled last season.
Funny enough, like, I get why there's a surprise package because they were obviously in the relegation battle last year, but they went on to win the cup last year. Like, it's not like they're this small team, small club who are surprising everyone. They're quite a decent team.
Yeah, and I think there was a time, no, it was a good while back, but like, Drogheda were winning leagues as well. Like I know it was a long time ago, but like they're not like some team that never won anything or something that they've come out of nowhere. Like
we played them in a cup final. Yeah, they've won leagues.
Yeah, so like they're and they have a decent enough support. Like, so they're not a small club. Like, so
to be honest, I would go as far as to say their home support. When you look at the clubs up that end of the country this year, they've had a better home support than all. I know they're not a Dublin club, but to us, they nearly are a Dublin club because it's up there. But they've had phenomenal home support up there.
Yeah. So like
compared to the other Dublin clubs,
other
clubs in that area,
and so like a big weekend coming up, a tough weekend,
tough weekend,
but hopefully, you know, like there's been, I suppose, the last 2 games we've got 4 points out of 6. You know, I know now there were 2 teams at the lower end of the table with ourselves, but like it might give them that bit to.
I think especially Friday, it's a home game, Turner's Cross crowd. You want to do well.
Yeah.
You want to win your home games, but you definitely want to do well in your home games, and there's pride at stake there. So that's you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose at home. Like
we've worked well as underdogs over the years as well. Like, so, like, you know, so it's not
that's fine. Like,
it's not mission impossible.
Yeah,
like,
no, absolutely not.
You know,
but people are like, I know me going off on a tangent now and around here, but like I know people are going, we're at the bottom end of the table, there's other clubs at the top, but they're not world beaters. Like
no.
They're not European giants. They're just some team from Dublin. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Chelsea hammered them.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not, as you said, mission impossible to go and beat any of them.
No, not. There's not that much of a golf in the league. Like,
I know, again, where we are in the league, and if you look at the injuries we had, but if we had a full strength team,
and
I know it's all ifs and buts, but
it does.
If you look at what would have been available to us if we didn't have everybody injured, you wouldn't fear anybody coming down.
Yeah, and you would have to say that obviously we're short on goals this season, so that coincides with the injuries we've had.
Yeah. We're short on goals because we've about 20 goals a season out injured at the minute.
I know, like, but it is important to remember that too. Like, I mean, and you know, when you have a manager like Tim and he's planning his season ahead, and then all of a sudden everything is taken off him. Yeah, it's very hard.
And that's the thing. I'm not downplaying as well. Look, obviously it's a concern where we are in the league. Like, that's obviously,
but it's our job to be optimistic as well.
Exactly. But like, you've people going on about, oh, Jesus, Cork City, we got relegated again. I don't, like, it's, again, there's 12 games gone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd like to think that's not the case. I don't think it would. I don't think that will happen.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time,
somebody
has to be optimistic.
Yeah.
And I know I'm blindly optimistic at the best of times, but I'm happy to take that.
I heard someone make a joke of that. I was at the Waterford game, and when we were losing 1-0, and I heard someone in the stand saying, there'll be some game when City play a Cove and they play off a Parky Cleave.
Oh God, no thanks.
So
no thanks.
Don't come to that.
No thanks.
So you know, so
no thanks.
So
we're going to ban the word playoff from this podcast.
The Cork sense of humour, like at times, like
but again, like in that Waterford game, I know I mentioned it before, but like with 88 minutes gone, it's all doom and gloom.
Yeah,
and then 5 minutes later, we're going to Europe. Like, you know, we're fine. Everything is right in the world.
Everything's great again.
Sun's out. Happy. The birds are chirping. Like
they're all. So like it can, and you never know. We could get another result like that at the weekend, and all of a sudden, there's huge optimism, and you know, so that there's a long way to go yet in this season.
Yeah.
And if we can get Shawnee and Malik back, obviously we won't get Keats back like at the moment, like not for the season anyway. But you know, you know, you'll be surprised. You know, they're 2 quality players back into the team. You know, like
another one actually we've haven't really mentioned, but he's back in the fold is Evan.
Yeah,
Evan's been phenomenal coming back.
Like,
Obviously, everyone forgets this. Cahill was brilliant the other night against Waterford. Kit got the winner. Evan was the one that scored the penalty. Like, I know Cahill did the work and got won the penalty. Is a funny phrase because he was fouled, but
he's great.
You know what I mean?
Taker, though, to be fair,
Evan's he's brilliant. Yeah, but
you know,
he played in the middle since coming back. He played left back last season. And scored a lot of goals from left back. So Evan is probably a dark horse in terms of have an influential player to have back in the mix. So fond of a card as well. So we'll keep an eye on that.
And it's only a matter of time before Milan scores a goal from like halfway line or something like that.
Telling you when he does. Shots. Could you imagine he was the one that got the winner?
Yeah,
against Waterford. My God, it had the statue commissioned.
Yeah,
and ready in place for next Friday.
Definitely becoming a bit of a fan favourite.
He is, and you know what? Even the celebrations after the Waterford game into the shed, he loves it. It's so funny. Like, he's only here a wet week in the grand scheme of things, and
What's
he
his
loves
English
the
like?
club. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, like
We must get him on.
then we did the photo shoot for the black jersey, and he's just like, he loves it.
Yeah.
He's very upbeat and positive, and
Yeah.
he's class. But you know what? All the players are. Do you know what I mean? There's nobody there where you're saying, this fella. Like, they're all lovely. They all love the club.
Yeah.
They're
really into
want
it.
to do well for the club and
Yeah.
for themselves, obviously. But
Yeah, and I was saying at the start there, even if a couple of them messaged me privately, they are offering their condolences, and I was saying, like, they're not egotistical. Like,
no, there's no ego there.
There's that's what I'm saying. They're a real unit or something.
Yeah, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Look, the League of Ireland, yes, it's gone huge, it's professionalised and all this, but it's still the League of Ireland. It still has its charm. The players are accessible. You look after, we bang this drum all the time, after a game on a Friday night or a Monday evening, as the case has been. They're all outside the back of the shed for 40 minutes after the game, signing autographs, taking selfies, chatting to whoever will talk to them. Like, they're there. If they're on your doorstep, they're accessible.
Yeah. No,
and that's something in itself to be applauded. Like,
yeah. And you were talking about the black kit there, but I see that there's black merchandise now down in the shop. I see that there.
It's very nice, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty much what we have out in blue, but a black version of it.
Yeah.
Proving to be very popular so far. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
shop's tipping away. Like I pass it there and stuff like this. It's nice to have a kind of different items in there and stuff like that. You know,
and we actually
birthdays and all that kind of stuff during the year. Like,
we actually have a new retail manager on board now as well, Peter Moreland.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
So we haven't announced it publicly anywhere yet, but Peter's been in there the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So the shop side of things, the retail and the merchandise will go from strength to strength over the next couple of months. And you've seen it with the Rebel Army clothing stuff. Dermot spoke about it. Like, it was me and him for a long time, but now Peter's in the fold as well.
Very
and
good. Yeah.
There's big plans, there's big ideas, and we're ahead of ourselves and what we want to be doing. And that's another big positive and excitement for the future.
And speaking of ideas, you were Arc Cinema again last weekend for the match.
Yeah, Saturday.
Full house again, was it?
Full house, pretty much full house. Yeah, 1 or 2 seats. It's sold out. 1 or 2 didn't show up. Whatever, but
people, things happen.
No, it was brilliant. Yeah, again, bar the result, but stream was fine. Funny enough, I'd seen a couple of tweets and stuff online that the stream wasn't working for people. It's perfect for us in the Arc. So
it's the internet, is it? I don't know.
Look, if your stream doesn't work, come to the Arc. It works. No, but look, it was brilliant. We were really happy with it. The Arc were really happy with it because obviously it's less stressful for them as well when it doesn't go down because they don't feel like it's their fault.
Yeah.
But it was really good. We're looking at the next couple of games. We're just tying down which ones we're going to show next.
Very good.
One of those will be a women's away game as well.
Brilliant.
So, that'll all be announced. We need to figure out for definite which games they're going to be, but I have my eye on 2, and we'll announce that probably in the next week or so, maybe.
Yeah. And so obviously you had the women's game on Saturday as well. So look, there's 2 games that you can show support to the club.
Yeah, busy weekend to Turner's Cross.
Yeah. What about the academy? Have they been playing?
Yeah, so they were back last weekend. There was no games the weekend before.
Yeah.
Due to Easter. But they were back last weekend. Well, most were.
These chocolate free stuff.
I was doing it myself. Most were back. So on Saturday, the under 20s didn't have a game. The women's under 17s won 4-1 away to CK United. Sophia Redmond, Shania West, and Amy McCarthy scoring 2 there. The under 15s had a big win over Limerick. And then on Sunday, the women's 19s drew 1-1 against Wexford and Bishopstown. They'd been behind, but Eva Loftus equalised. That's actually, I think, 5 goals in 6 games for Eva. Wow. So that's a good return. The men's under 17s won 4-2 away to Treaty. Charlie Hanover got a hat-trick. And Jordan McCarthy got the other one, which Charlie actually set up as well. So Charlie Hanover had a great Sunday afternoon. And then the 14s were due to play Treaty, but that was postponed.
So undefeated with the academy. So
it's been a really good start to the season for all the academy teams, actually.
Yeah. So look, we have to look at the positive side of stuff as well. And look, there's some promising players coming through, and
absolutely, as usual, like there's always been.
There's great work going on.
Mentioned it before. There's the conveyor belt of players coming through, like so.
And I see, obviously, the last podcast we did, we had the lads in from the amputee team. I think there's a big event coming up. I think I was in the 24th of May or something like that.
In Abbottstown, yeah, it's a bit of a recruitment drive, basically, for getting people involved.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this off the back of the episode with Rory and Dara a few weeks ago, I know we said it then, but if you know somebody who could get involved in amputee football, let them know, because they could be a part of it.
Yeah. Even if they support another club or anything like that, like they may be living up the country or something, or, you know, reach out to them, because I think just listening to the lads the last time, like, it's been a game changer for them. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and it's like, if you look at the post we put up, there's sort of the flyer the IAFA have about the event, and the one thing they've highlighted is amputee football isn't just for amputees. Like, it's open to players with limb differences, mobility challenges, nerve damage, joint conditions, stuff like that. So it's not just
interesting
amputees.
Yeah.
If you do want to learn more about it, go to Irish Amputee Football on
good.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
We've got the post on our own socials as well if you want to see it,
Yeah.
and follow them from there. But yeah, it's look, you might know somebody that could want to be a part of it, represent Cork City FC.
Yeah.
If you're up the country, represent one of the other clubs, who knows? But yeah, have a look at the Irish Amputee Football website and social medias for that.
So, although we didn't have, I suppose we didn't have a guest on today, we had definitely no shortage of stuff to talk about anyway.
48 matches to get through anyways.
Yeah. Matches everywhere. And we didn't even talk about it. No, is the E-League over, or is it still on?
Finished. That finished in the last couple of weeks as well.
Yeah.
Heartbreaker for Welly. Finished second.
Yeah.
But that's that done for another season. I think that's our fourth second place finish in a row. So Welly's kicking himself. He really wanted to go that extra step and win it. But that's done for another year now as well.
Yeah, but all the other stuff we're only in, as I said, we're third of the way in most of the leagues, I think, at this point. So there's a long way to go yet. There's a big season, a big summer there ahead of us. So yeah, I know. And I know, look, we mentioned there the likes of Wrexham and all them, and we were talking about all those players that are from Cork that are playing in England and Scotland and so on. All those leagues come to an end fairly soon. And if you know people as well that are kind of going to be bored, twiddling their thumbs during the summer, that's your opportunity to get them to the cross.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's why I always say, like, they're nearly looking for something to do. Like,
people talk about football ending for the summer. No, it doesn't.
Like,
football only gets going in the summer.
So, I would, long evenings, it was great. Like, just get down to the cross and embrace local football. Like, that's what it's about.
100%, yeah.
So you have two opportunities this weekend. And the big ones as well, with Rovers and Bows coming to town, like, as in the men's and the women's.
Yeah,
so.
and you know what, I know looking beyond this weekend, but there is a lot of football coming up at Turner's Cross. We've got men's and women's this weekend, and then men's and women's again the following weekend. So if you go along this weekend and enjoy yourself,
because
you can do it again.
Yeah,
you can do it again next week.
We've Jerry coming next week.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to go and be a part of it.
Yeah.
We call it the best Friday night in Cork.
Yeah.
I know the last one was a Monday night, but it point still stands.
Yeah.
Just on that, actually, the post we had up during the week, we've taken over a few digital signage boards in Cork Airport as well, in the arrivals and stuff like that. So,
brilliant. And of course, people
all about
come
spreading
here
the good word of Cork City FC.
And there might be people off for the long weekend now or something like that. They might spot it and say we go down to the cross or whatever.
But that's part of like a broader strategy, I suppose. This year you see it in the airport. We mentioned it before. It's all over signage on the street everywhere. We want to get in front of as many people as we can.
Yeah.
It's good. It seems to be working. There's, we're visible now in a lot more places.
Yeah.
Another random one. I know I tweeted about it a couple of weeks ago. There's a huge podcast in America, not related to football at all.
I saw something
called the Basement Yard Podcast. Not relevant at all to football in any regard, but they did a live show in Dublin a couple of weeks back, and one of the hosts saw a Cork City jersey somewhere, the orange one, went and bought it on the club shop himself.
Oh.
And he was wearing it out in New York on their podcast. They've 4.5 million followers on TikTok. So again, no real football relation, but it's good
Just
coverage for the crowd. Yeah. Someone sent it to me. I was kind of like, what? Yeah, very random, but it's good to see the jerseys travelling far and the Cork City logo popping up in more and more places.
For the jersey as well, like, so it's good.
Yeah, he said he really liked it. Yeah, I would have thought the home jersey was nicer, but look, maybe he hasn't seen that one. We might have to send him one of those.
No, it's great. And listen, if anyone's listening to this and they spot anything to do with City in unusual places, let us know. Like
100%. Yeah, send it on Instagram or Twitter. Basically,
because sometimes you'd miss it.
I keep an eye out for these things. There was a guy. Now I wouldn't be a huge cricket fan myself, so there's a cricket team called the Multan Sultans, and their owner, obviously big guy, millionaire guy, whatever, was at their match last week wearing a retro Cork City jersey. They're huge on Instagram as well. Again, not a cricket fan, but they've got over 500,000 followers, and
Jesus,
there they are in their Cork City jerseys. So we are.
That's mad.
Everywhere. Yeah. So the old adage, City are massive.
Yeah.
Is relevant.
Yeah. Let's hope. Let's hope for a massive weekend and some goals, and who knows, a few positive results, and we start moving up the table, both for the men and the women. So
absolutely.
So yeah, we'll be back next week, and hopefully we might get a guest in next week as well. So so talk to you then. Enjoy the May Bank holiday weekend and enjoy the football fest that'll be on.
See you next week.